الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah, 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 Adada khalqihi wa rida nafsihi, wa zinatu arshihi wa midad kalimatihi, wa muntaha ilmihi wa jami'a ma sha'a wa khalaqa wa dara wa bara. Alim al-ghayb wa shahadatu ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, al-Malik al-Qudus, al-Aziz al-Hakim. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون أما بعد فيقول الله تعالى في كتابه إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Alhamdulillah, we praise and we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us with this ni'mah, this favor of CHANGE-Jumu'ah, and being able to heed the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who called and commanded us to hasten to his remembrance on this day. Alhamdulillah, I want to spend a few minutes talking about change. Change. I think it's a very important, interesting, and necessary topic that we sometimes overlook. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change is bad. Sometimes change is good, sometimes change is bad. Sometimes change is necessary, but we don't know how to change. Sometimes change could be a bad thing, but we do things to bring about that change anyway. Change. With regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning Allah changing, that is mustahil, that is impossible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what he is before even creation was created. And you have to understand, when we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or when we talk about his creation, we're not only talking about humans and animals and trees, we're talking about everything, including time itself. before there was even a beginning or an end or a time or a way to measure time, there was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the surest ways to indicate that what you're talking about is other than Allah is to indicate change. He's hiding, ain't he? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is outside of time. No beginning, no end. Allah is Ghani. He is independent. He is free. He doesn't need any of his creation. He is not dependent, has no need of, and is not inside of place or time. So if you read a translation of something, and that translation says that Allah went from this place to that place, you know it's a bad translation. Because for Allah to go from one place to another, that would mean that Allah is contained, that Allah is inside of his creation, and Allah created creation. I'm trying to give you some examples of how, in this case, conceiving of a change with Allah is impossible. And if you try to figure it out all the way, you won't be able to do it, because Allah is infinite and our minds are finite. Sometimes, when it comes to a lot of us, when it comes to al-Islam, because we have been polluted and poisoned with a lot of erroneous beliefs from different sources, we abandon the common sense that we don't abandon in no other aspect of life. But when it comes to al-Islam, we abandon it. For example, if I were to ask you, what does the word face mean? You can say, oh, the thing on your head in the front. Face. What kind of dumb question is that? So, okay, that's the literal meaning of the word face. Okay, we can understand that. We talk in English. Then if I say, these two brothers, they met face to face. Does that mean when the brothers came together that they put their faces against each other? No. It means they met in person. Nobody would say, no, you couldn't take it literally. Face means face. You said they met face to face and they put their faces together. No, that's retarded. If I say, you have to face the consequences, the word face is being used. Face means face, Haki. Gotta face the consequences, literally. Does he go to consequence and put his face on it? No. You mean, obviously that means that he has to be accountable. He has to deal with something that he put forward. We can understand this. In English, if I say, what is the definition of hand? You say the thing with the fingers on it, at the end of your arm. What do you mean? What kind of stupid question is that? If I say, okay, let's all give him a hand. You say, okay, we hear and obey, let's cut off our hands and give it to him. No! I means you clap for him. You give him a round of applause. Or I can use the same statement, hey, give him a hand. That means assist him, help him. The word hand is being used. Even someone that's illiterate in English would not say that you use the word hand wrong in that context. Hey, can you hear me that over there? Give him something. But a lot of times, you take the same common sense things I'm sure none of us would disagree with in English, now you put it in the Islamic context. And after you read over and over and over again in the Quran in different ways, like in Surah Al-Ikhlas, but the most explicit place in Surah Shura, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Laysa kamithlihi shay, that there is nothing like him. And then you go in Arabic, in the Hadith or in the Quran, and you see the word wajh, which literally in Arabic can be translated as face. But you already understand that there's nothing like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so some of us say, well, Allah has a face. A'udhu billah. But we just don't know how his face is. No, there is no how. And why are you restricting that word wajh to only one meaning? When even in an Arabic language, the word wajh has dozens of meanings. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Yadullah al-Jamaa'ah. The yad, which if you literally translate it, means hand when it's applied to creation. The yad of Allah is over or with the Jamaa'ah. So what does that mean? When we have a community of people, a group of people, and we're together and we look up and we see a hand, oh, the billah. It means that the support, the assistance, and the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with the community, with the Jamaa'ah. The word yet in Arabic language has many meanings. You see how it's important that as human beings, we can understand this in English, but when we go over to the Islamic context, somehow we just get discombobulated. We can't get it. No, Allah says he has a hand. Alhamdulillah, he says he has a yed. And yed means many things. Why you choose that meaning for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when the word in the Arabic language has many meanings? You see how it's important? We're talking about change. How it's important that when something means something in one context, it's understood. But when the context changes, you have to change right along with it. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change is bad. Sometimes change is necessary. Sometimes change is harmful. Change. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن سادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقالدين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. We mentioned in the first khutbah the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala found in Surah Al-Ra'd. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Verily, or indeed, Allah does not change the state or the situation or what is with the people unless or until they first change what is with themselves. Change. Usually when a speaker uses this verse to make his point or her point, usually they're using the verse to indicate that, listen, our situation is not good. We have this or that problem. And the only way we're going to change this problem is if we change ourselves first. And then the situation around us will change. And that is correct. That is a proper way to use that verse. But it's not the primary way that the verse is used. It's not the reason why this verse was revealed. It's actually indicating the other way. You're in a good situation. Everything is good. You're enjoying the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that blessing will stay with you unless or until you change your situation. You change your inner state. Your heart changes. Meaning you become ungrateful for that blessing that you're enjoying. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they first change what is with themselves. Change. You see how change can be bad. Maybe you were in a situation you needed something. You wanted something. You desired something. You felt like your life was incomplete without that thing. That husband, that wife, that job, that money, that business. You felt like your life was over with until you got that thing. Or because you didn't have that thing. And then what do you know? Allah blessed you with it. Allah gave it to you. When you first got it, you first got married. You know, like when a brother first get married, you see him, he has to fight back his smile. Like, you don't even have to ask him how's the married life. His face is telling you. And I'm thinking about one brother right there. That feeling, that state, we have to keep that state. How many of us, after some time passes by, the very thing he begged Allah for, the very thing she begged Allah for, they wish they never had. The job, the money, the car. You changed. And oftentimes, Allah will take it from you. You weren't grateful for it. Why? Because you changed. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are thankful for a thing, Allah will give you more of it. That's what Allah says in the Quran. So sometimes Allah gives us something. And then when we get up and close and personal with that thing, that husband, that wife, that job, that car, that money, because Allah gave it to us now, it's part of our lives, we look at it close, now we see all of the imperfections in it. It's a test. Maybe we was like, man, why did I even buy this thing? Oh, you didn't have it. You was begging for it. Nothing's perfect other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything you come in contact with is going to be a fault or imperfection with it. Were you expecting something perfect? Be grateful that Allah gave it to you. He could have left you in a situation without giving it to you. And look at the thousands of people who are in a worse situation than you. But Allah gave it to you. Be grateful for that thing. Allah will increase. Allah will improve that thing for you. Don't believe me? Try it out. I know from experience. Be thankful for what you have, even though you may compare that thing you have with something similar that other people have, and you say, this thing ain't nothing compared to what he has. Don't think like that. Look the other way. Compare what you have to something similar that other people have, and theirs is worse than yours. That will make you be more grateful for what you have. And because of this gratitude, Allah will make that thing that you have better for you. Change. See how change can be bad? You was grateful for a thing. Now you got it. Now you're not grateful anymore. Allah will take it from you. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ni'matani fi maqbulun kathirun min an-nas." There are two blessings. There are two favors that most people miss out on. Most people don't take advantage of. As-sihhatu wal faragh. Good health and free time. How many of us, when our bodies are strong and our health is okay, that we don't use it in a proper way? The older and older and older and older you get, everybody, we can bear witness to that. When Allah gave us good, strong body, a lot of times we used it for nonsense. See, part of being thankful is using the gift that Allah gave us the way it is intended to be used. So Allah gave us a good, healthy, strong body, and He created us to worship Him. So when we were young and strong, we didn't worship Allah a lot. When we were working and able to make a lot of money, when we were young, we didn't spend the money in the cause of Allah. We didn't use our good health. And now Allah took it from us. We're getting old. Sicknesses are piling up. Now we want to use our body the way Allah intended. When we were young and didn't have responsibilities, we had all of this free time. We blew it. We wasted our time. Now that we don't have a choice in the matter, and our earthly survival depends on it, and we're working day and night all the time, we said, man, I wish I had some free time so I could study. But when we had the free time, we didn't use it. Change. Sometimes change is good. You ever look at somebody or a group of people who are trying to figure out their way off the treadmill? You know the treadmill when you run, but you're not going anywhere. That's the treadmill. You can run as fast as you want. Guess what? You're going to be in the same spot. The treadmill. They said, I have to figure out a way out of this situation. Let me try to do the same thing I was doing in a different way. Maybe it'll come out with a different result. And we still in the same place. A lot of times we're on this treadmill, our situation doesn't change because our thinking doesn't change. Our heart doesn't change. The way we perceive the whole thing may be wrong, may be faulty, and we refuse to look at that thing another way. This is one of the reasons why a lot of young people don't respect elders. I'm not saying it's a good thing to disrespect elders. I'm talking to my elders right now. Sometimes young people look at you, and when you advise and say, you should do it this way, the young person is saying, if I do it the way you're telling me to do it, that means I'm going to end up like you. No, thank you. This is what a lot of them are saying. And some of them are disrespectful enough to say it to your face. And so a lot of times, even when you talk about social change and political things that's going on, a lot of our elders are telling us to do the same thing they did 40 years ago. And a lot of younger people is like, okay, you telling us to do what you did 40 and 50 years ago, but we still in the same situation, but you want us to react to the same situation the way y'all did. No, thank you. Some of them are even bold enough to say, listen, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's the right thing to do or the right way to go, but I know I'm not going that way. So sometimes change is good, but the ego gets in the way. Sometimes, man, listen, your self tells you, listen, I know this thing ain't the best thing, but if I change, everyone is going to see me, then I have to admit to the fact that I was wrong all these years. And a lot of us are more worried about what people think about us if we make the necessary change than the change and the benefits itself. That's one of the reasons many people, Muslims and non-Muslims, love Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, Malcolm X. Because he didn't care about that. He changed multiple times and wasn't afraid to admit it. They even questioned him. You know, he was in front of the media all the time. Hey, wait a minute. A few months ago, you was part of the Nation of Islam. You were saying this and that. Yeah, you're right. And I said it, and I was sincere when I said it. I don't believe that anymore. I don't think that anymore. I changed. Now I'm saying this. He said it straight up like that. Most of us can't do that because we don't have that type of integrity. We're more worried about what people will think than making the necessary change. No integrity. Or we try to be slick with it. We'll change, but we say, I didn't change. I had this opinion the whole time. What are you talking about? I think they call that gaslighting. You know the person done changed up. But they trying to, instead of admitting that they changed, they try to make you think that what you're seeing ain't what you saw. No, the reality is I didn't change. Something's wrong with you. I was always doing this. Change. Sometimes change is necessary. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change is bad. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم حسنا ومن حسنا تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. إقامة الصلاة.